Hello everybody, today I just wanted to make a video kind of detailing everything that I do for my dailies and kind of the general progression of my account when it comes to Granblue Fantasy, and you can follow along, or if you want to take bits and pieces of these things, learn, etc., make them your own, feel free, but these are the things that I look forward to, or the things that I do when I get on for Granblue Fantasy every single day. I'll be honest, I lied a little bit because number one, I don't log off. The honest to God truth is that 99% of the insane hours that players have when it comes to the game is all AFK. There are a few people that, I don't know, maybe sleep, love, are millionaires and get to play Granblue Fantasy Relink every single day. But even as a content creator for the game, there are just a lot of times where I'm editing or doing stuff on the side, working on graphics, whatever. And therefore, I'm just kind of sitting in AFK. And one of the things that is basically a product of that is that after a full night of AFKing the night before, when I log on for the first time the next day, I kind of keep stock, or I keep track of what resources, what things I've farmed, if I've capped out on any materials I need to sell, awakenings, etc. Let's get into it. Okay, so the first thing I do after I've stopped AFKing, or I've logged on for the first time, whatever you want to call it, I take a look at this little counter first and foremost, because if you aren't careful, or sometimes you're not paying attention, you will have an overflow of, or you may not collect the extra gold badge tickets. I have 24 at the top there. You know, I haven't quite used yet, but normally what I do is I will be doing my quick quests, or I'll claim these things, because a lot of the resources, or some of the more annoying resources that you can get in the game, are kind of locked behind golden dahlias, or the gold dahlia badges. Again, it shouldn't really take much to convince you, but you can buy stuff like the azurite splendors, you could buy the silver, okay, really it's pretty much just like the azurite splendors if you're desperate, or it's something like the more annoying things, like I would probably say, I think it's it's some of the boss materials. Like some of these are particularly annoying. I'm not a huge fan of like doing the abyssal horn stage, so if like that's something you want, you can do that. There are also, again, just like 100 different things that you could trade in for, like just in terms of like these materials up here. But long story short, there's a lot of resources that you can get from trading dahlia badges in. It's an infinite resource regenerator too if you want to trade silver centrums for it. That's not really worth it. Most people nowadays don't really need to trade in silver centrums specifically for gold dahlia badges. They just do it with the other trade resource. Anyways, that's basically what I do with my gold dahlia badges. The next thing that I do normally when I get back on is I take a look around the city to see if there's any chests or any things that are, I guess, like kind of laying around. Some of them give rupees, some of them give curio boxes. All of them have access, or all of them have the possibility of giving you stuff like, I think like the tier 4 curios, if you do manage to get a tier 4 curio from one of like the blue spots. Oh yeah, so here's one in the fountain. The location of these kind of changes. It kind of just depends. There's Rafael coins, and Rafael coins you can also spend on fortitude crystals. After I've kind of went around the entire city collecting things for like my first run, which again is kind of excessive because most of the resources you get from quests and stuff, you want to go to Zatwa's appraisal, or at least for me, I go to Zatwa's appraisals because this is my favorite part of the day. That's right, it's appraisal time. Curios, of course, the thing that I've been farming for a lot right now. I'm not really at the point where I need to upgrade anything else. When I do quote unquote actively farm, a lot of the times I'll be like, you know, trying to enjoy or actually play the game, and in those cases, that's when I'll be starting to farm out stuff like awakenings for certain characters, beating up certain bosses, helping out like people in the community and stuff like that. And in those cases, that's when I won't be farming curios. But for this case, farming curios is kind of what I enjoy waking up to, or it's like the thing that I look forward to in the morning after I've spent like a night of farming. Please. Looks like I've got nothing, but let's take a look just to be sure. Nothing. This game sucks. Anyways, that's what I basically wake up to in the morning, and I pray that I get something good. Oh, there's a chest over here as well. But long story short, that was all the things I got from my curios, which suck. Moving on. The next thing that you inevitably have to do because of, again, an insane amount of curio selling and stuff like that is basically going through and cleaning out your inventory. Ultimately, because again, I'm like out of inventory space, I have to just sit here and transmute over and over and over. I won't bore you with the actual like process of doing it. This is basically what you have to do in the morning. It breaks your finger. If you have a controller, you could at least press A and it helps a little bit more. But again, you kind of have to just comb through all your sigils, see the things that you want to keep. For me, I always keep all the, I keep a lot of the 5+ just in case if I need random other stuff. I do also keep pretty much all of the curio sigils, the curio specific sigils. You never know when you'll need it in the future, and sometimes it's just nicer to not have to like give up like a certain build of a character, even despite, you know, even though there aren't any, like, you know, there's no penalties to having like loadouts. I just personally like having certain things, or certain excessive or extra curios, or sigils I should say, in the bank just in case. But of course, if you want to sell things, by all means, you can just go trade all, sort by all these things, and then just sell, and then there you go. you can sell all these random things. Well, perfect, terrific. And again, after you've sold everything, if you've already sold the things that you've gotten from the curios, you can also just sit here and again transmute as much as you like. Ultimately, this is where I think a lot of people's days and nights go after doing a whole session of curio farming or AFKing at a certain boss. It is unfortunate, but until they add like a 10-time summon, this is just our life now, guys. Again, if you are able to get something good, or if you do build up your pity high enough, you could always use the trans marbles, and that's a little bit more interesting and like a little bit more exciting. But ultimately, for me, especially right now, all I'm looking for is 12 damage cap and 10 crit, which is a myth. So you know how it is. All right, now moving along, as I mentioned before, there is a lot of priority, or there's a lot of conversation when it comes to treasures and what is worth farming in this game. And a lot of it comes down to basically what you're farming for or what you're looking for. If you're trying to get a lot of silver centrums because you're awakening things, you will probably be farming certain stages like the Garrison or Scarmiglione stage, and then getting some of like these war axes in the maniacs, I guess in the maniac kind of stage section. Or basically you want to be farming stuff that gives you easy access to things that you can trade in for silver centrums. Otherwise, you can always just farm the actual stages that give you silver centrums at an increased pace or rate. For me, I found that to be what I think it's a Grim Vision in one of the other stages. Those ones particularly good for me. I don't really have to invest that much, to be honest, though, into getting silver centrums, though, to just be straight with you guys, because again, I have 315 here. I'm slowly trying to upgrade all the characters, but as you AFK, especially if you're AFKing stages that are above maniac, like your rate of getting silver centrums is so high. And again, like just look, like giant beak, chilling demon eye, like any of these random resources that I get from farming out, doing like random dailies, like whatever it is, like all these different things you can kind of just trade in, and it doesn't really apply. And I'm not at a pace where I'm even able to level up or like even actually use the new characters that I'm trying to awaken with silver centrums. Although silver centrums are technically like the end game like gate, or like, you know, progression gate for a lot of players, I don't actually find that you need that much, especially if you're AFKing as much as I am. That being said, though, again, if it affects your thinking or your opinion, of course, by all means, go ahead, farm like a maniac stage, go ahead, farm like your frosty war axes, go ahead and farm like your giant beaks, anything like that. Okay, now alongside the kind of like I don't want to run out of resources or I don't want to cap up on anything, I do also on occasion try to level up any characters that I have weapons for, or anything, you know, any of the new characters that I'm planning on making content for, anything like that. And ultimately, because you do just get an insane amount of resources just from farming, like certain stages will give you like fortitude crystals, stuff of that nature. I do end up finding myself, again, capping quite frequently. I try to, I guess, keep my resources within like the 500 to 750 range, just so I don't come back to like constant overfill. But again, when you are at the point where you aren't upgrading things nearly as much, you'll find that you run out of resources or you cap out on space for resources extremely quickly. It happens with sigils. It definitely happens with treasures. So just keep that in mind. If you overcap a little bit, it is what it is. But I try not to cap too much. And especially with like a resource like the Raphael coin or the large fortitude crystals, I like to trade them in for each other. This is pretty much where all my Raphael coins go, by the way. Like, it's not a very high cap. It's literally like 999 Raphael coins, and you can only get like 33 of the fortitude crystals anyways, but any amount helps. That's like 2 runs or something of like one of the griffins, or it's like a run or something of the griffin. So it saves you some time. Cool. You've just seen me kind of upgrade some of the weapons, but alongside that similar line of or train of thinking when it comes to upgrading stuff, I am a bit of like, you know, an awakening collection completionist kind of guy, outside of, you know, trying to find like the perfect build. So if I am farming for resources, or if I have been like doing stuff the night before, farming for something like Nihila or Manic Armor, or I don't know, whichever of the bosses I've been farming, I do also like to upgrade some of the weapons. I'm slowly, progressively upgrading all of them at the same time right now. I think they're all at around level 3, I think. Yeah, they're all level 3 right now, which is fine. Oh, except for Siegfried, because, well, to be honest with you, though, Siegfried looks pretty cool. I have no use for him, to be honest with you. To be honest, just being honest. I'm sorry. Don't boo me. Anyways, I don't really like playing him too much, and Vasaraga is like my AFK guy, so I haven't upgraded them. But in general, these are also resources that sometimes you can cap on. Very, very unlikely that you would ever do it, but in case you are doing it, because again, some of the resources are a little more difficult to get, and they're pretty much like specific to dropping from proud missions. I do try to awaken my characters all at the same time in the hopes that hopefully by Lucilius's launch, I have them all upgraded. But otherwise, if you want to save your resources, that's also totally fine. Admittedly, I've already kind of hit the point where I don't really need to level any other characters anymore. The other thing that I do like to do is that when I'm maxed on resources, I like to either get, you know, masteries, or try to find like the perfect mastery for my main, which is Lancelot. I'm going to do a couple rolls because I'm a little bit pissed off. Just for a bit of a spoiler, I was trying to upgrade my Rakam yesterday for the video that I did, and I got 20 normal damage cap up, 20 skill cap up, critical hit rate up, which is really good. And that's really like really pog, very exciting, but it's not in the character that I wanted it to be on, which makes it kind of upsetting. And I'm really hoping that with one of these I get, you know what I mean, guys? Like, it would just be so nice if I could just get 20 crit rate and 20 normal attack damage and skill damage and all these. I mean, you guys can see it. I'm in pain. I'm in agony. It sucks, but okay. I'm not gonna do any more. I'm frustrated already, or I'm already getting frustrated looking at it. In any case, though, that's what I do with my masteries, which is kind of the part 2. Again, running out of all your resources. These are just things that you should kind of just put down on a checklist so you don't forget. And finally, the thing that I like to do before I get into any gameplay, or like the random things that I'll do, either dailies or playing with other friends or playing with community members, anything in between, is I like to warm up a bit on the dummy, just because it kind of like loosens up my hands. It makes me not feel like I'm quarter of a way through my life and I'm about to pass away. Ha ha ha. Anyways, I like to do my rotation a little bit. It doesn't have to be perfect. The reality is that, like, honestly, there's no real time that I'm ever going to get like a perfect rotation like this. So this is like in 99% of cases just to like make my hands warm. And woo, let's just pretend that I had made like, you know, whoa guys, I've done like 7 quintillion damage. Anyways, that's basically what I like to do before I get into the more active things when it comes to Granblue Fantasy. Done my dummy, I've done my practice or whatever. If you've done once, you've pretty much done it 1,000 times. But then again, the thing that I like to do now is if people on stream or people that are DMing me need help, need to farm things, anything like that, I always kind of just like playing the game anyways, so I'm always on. And if people want me to stop AFK farming, or if I'm not doing something, recording, etc. I do also, again, like doing the quick missions, just because you can use the gold dahlia things to bypass certain phases or, you know, certain upgrades. Finally, the thing that I've kind of automated at this point, I've got like pretty much everything down to like a science when it comes to my character, is the AFK portion. So now, again, if you want to farm something like one of the proud stages because you need materials, if you want to farm out the Nazar Bonju because like I don't know, you want like a maniac clear, or if you want to do something like Grim Vision, throw Smith a bone, if you want to Curios quickly with I don't know, I guess one of these, like the Sage Illustrated at the beginning. Any of these things you can do, but now is about time where if I'm done, you know, playing with friends or something, or if I'm tired, I'm about to like go rest, or if I'm just kind of like laying in bed, I'll literally just boot up like OS Link. If you guys don't know what it is, it's literally like a remote desktop thing. I'll just have the game play, or I'll just like unplug my controller, or I'll just like reset it. Anything in between. Long story short, I just AFK. I kind of just relax, fall asleep in my chair, have the game playing while I'm recording and doing content like that. But yeah, that's basically everything that I do in my dailies, or everything that I do in my daily life when it comes to Granblue Fantasy, guys. It's kind of equivalent to doing a gacha, but it's a little bit more degenerate because you pretty much just leave the game up 24/7 on your computer. But anyways, for those of you that are normal, you don't have to do any of these things. I would probably say the most important thing is probably collecting the gold tickets and selling out your inventory so you don't cap. But other than that, guys, it's a single player ARPG, or it's technically like a single player ARPG. You can play with friends and stuff, and that's fine, but you know, you guys aren't like gonna harm each other or grief each other. So yeah, that's basically all that I do in Granblue Fantasy, guys. Thank you again for watching. Hope it helped. Hope you learned something. If you did, make sure to like, comment, turn the notification bell, subscribe. I will see you guys on the next one. And I streamed this on YouTube and Twitch. And you can go catch that every day at around 12 p.m. EST. Anyways, yeah, I'll see you guys on the next one. Adios.